Good afternoon, everyone. Without start of this, may I have your attention. My name is David Campos, and I have the honor of representing District 9 on the Board of Supervisors. And it is truly my honor, my pleasure to be here today for this very important announcement, for this very important press conference, to talk about who is going to lead the city in a very important position. But before we get to that, it is my distinct honor right now to introduce to you a man who for so long has established himself as not only the most progressive sheriff in the United States of America, but when it comes to effectiveness, when it comes to making sure that we have a criminal justice that works, the most effective sheriff in this country. And I am proud to say that he is a resident of District 9. My neighbor, I see him taking out the trash every day, so he's a good citizen. But quite frankly, I want to thank Sheriff Hennessey for what he has done. He has never been afraid to do the right thing and speak up for the rights of all people. And most recently, you worked around ESCOM. The fact that you have not been afraid to stand up for what's right makes me so proud to be a San Franciscan and to call you my sheriff. Sheriff Mike Hennessey.
Thank you, David, Supervisor Campos, and as David said, he's my supervisor. I live in District 9 and have for many, many years. This year is my 32nd year as sheriff. I've been elected 8 times. This is my 8th term. It's been a job that I've greatly enjoyed, and working in city government has been a true honor and a great joy. It's been, frankly, thrilling 30 years. But there is a time to move on, and this is a time for me to move on and not seek re-election. The Sheriff's Department is a large endeavor. Yes. Over 1,000 employees, a budget of over $150 million, over 2,000 prisoners in custody or in jail alternative programs every day. It's a large enterprise, and it's not something that can be undertaken lightly, or someone who is not ready to make the hard decisions that one has to make in the course of this business. I'm here today to endorse Ross Mirkarimi as our next sheriff. Ross, the reason I'm supporting Ross is because we've worked together closely over the past several years on a number of criminal justice issues. I know that if you're a member of the Board of Supervisors, you get involved in all kinds of issues. And frankly, sometimes criminal justice is one of the thornier ones that people don't like to get too involved in. But Ross has not shied from this. We've worked together on creating an anti-violence program in our community called the No Violence Alliance, and has been very effective in reducing reoffenses of people charged with violent crimes. Ross has been the leader in creating a re-entry council for San Francisco, bringing together for the first time in many years all of the criminal justice groups together, as well as citizens who are involved in the criminal justice field, to discuss the issues that we have in common and to begin to deal with the issues of re-entry. And with the governor's program coming up of realignment, which will bring hundreds or thousands of more ex-offenders into San Francisco, it's vitally important that we have a person in charge of our Sheriff's Department who not only understands these issues, but has already made alliances that will help make these programs more successful here in San Francisco. Ross, another part of being sheriff, frankly, is being able to maneuver through the morass of government. You have to deal with the Board of Supervisors. You have to create a working relationship with the mayor. You have to work with the other city agencies. And Ross brings that experience, not only from his time as a district attorney investigator, as a peace officer, but as his time on the Board of Supervisors. Ross understands the city's budget. He understands how it works. And that's vitally important for the sheriff to be able to bring the resources and convince the mayor and the Board of Supervisors what resources are needed for the Sheriff's Department to operate properly. And it's Ross's experience and our working relationship over these past years that has led me to believe that he is the right person to succeed me as sheriff. And as a result, I am very proud today to formally endorse Ross Mirkarimi for Sheriff of San Francisco.
I have never been a loss for words. It's true, Mike says. Sheriff Hennessey says. So I will do my best to try to live up to my reputation of expounding as best and succinctly as I possibly can. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody here on such short notice for joining us on this most incredible occasion, one of the most important occasions I know of my political career, in joining us in saying how fortunate San Francisco is to have a sheriff like Mike Hennessey. I've already said this in the press and I'll continue to say it again. Mike Hennessey is a living legend.
Yes, he is.
It would be completely impossible to fill his shoes. I know this more than anybody. There are so many people here who have worked with him over the years because they believe not only in his integrity, but his ability to innovate in a way that no other city in the United States has ever seen. Maybe to the point where we've taken a bit for granted because of the incredible endeavors that Sheriff Mike Hennessey has been able to accomplish. Not to mention the fact that over 1,000 people that are employed by the Sheriff's Department, practically all but 5 have all been hired by Sheriff Mike Hennessey. So to the excellence and to the quality of the professionalism of people that have really carried out their duties faithfully under the watch of Sheriff Mike Hennessey can only make San Francisco that much more proud. And we should realize, I think, a distinction that should not go unnoticed. Sheriff Mike Hennessey is literally the longest serving elected official in the history of San Francisco. He's probably the most understated, and in a press conference like this, even though it's about endorsing me, I will not let him give off the stage without us making sure we recognize him in the most appropriate ways. He has served under 6 mayors, and he has served under or with 13 police chiefs. If you talk about stability that is so well needed in San Francisco city government, especially in the criminal justice system, Mike Hennessey is emblematic of just that. If there was to be, and I think that this goes without saying, but self-evident as it is, in this particular race for Sheriff of San Francisco, the most important endorsement to be cast is that endorsement of Sheriff Mike Hennessey.
That's right,
Which is why I say, with great pride, humbly so, and one where I just almost completely want to make sure that you have my commitment that I will build on your legacy as effectively and as best as I possibly can. And on the greatness of your department, I will continue to pursue the very objectives that you have set out and have achieved in making us proud in San Francisco. I also realize this while I'm talking to Mike and I dived into my remarks, I'd like to introduce you to my wife and son, Liliana Lopez, and my son, Theo Mirkarimi. We're together as a family, and all of you in my extended family, I am preparing accordingly for what will be a tough campaign. I do not take this endorsement of Sheriff Mike Hennessey lightly at all, because what stands before us in the city and county of San Francisco are some serious challenges. For example, we know that Assembly Bill 109 has just been signed by Governor Brown. This will increase our prison population by prisoners on the state level returning back to San Francisco by almost 30%. That means our jails, or that means our diversion programs or monitoring programs are going to grow by almost 30%. It will take a certain amount of creative ingenuity and resources, because the money will not be there to the degree that it should be there, to make sure that we are effective in taking care of this population. And that is important, that San Francisco continues to lead the way in addressing the causes of recidivism and doing everything we possibly can in making sure that those who have been offenders are less likely to repeat their offense again. It's also incredibly important to recognize the amazing programs that have been started under Mike Hennessey's watch and the people that work with Mike Hennessey. like the COVER program that deals with the burgeoning incidents of veterans who are now falling into the prison system and the jail system, who need a specialized touch to help them try not to reoffend. And of course, what Mike had already referenced, the Novo Alliance, where I was more than proud to go on behalf of Mike and with Jeff Adachi to the CDCR in the state and to lobby for the dollars that helped created the Novo Alliance. So what that would do is not just take care of the safe populations, those who might be less likely to offend, but go after the felons and people who might have a track record of violent felonies and do everything we possibly can to make sure that they do not recidivate. The statistics that have been shown in the last 3.5 to 4 years would make this nation proud if they knew what San Francisco is doing by the very understated way led by Sheriff Mike Hennessey. It's important to recognize something that many people in San Francisco don't even know. We actually have a police force, a deputy sheriff force of peace officers of nearly 850 men and women dedicated who went through their own police academies, in order to get certified just like the San Francisco Police Department. The next time we decry about a deficit of police staffing in this city, look to the fact that there are the men and women motivated in the Deputy Sheriff's Department who also want to serve the larger objective in making sure San Francisco is a safe city. I recommend very highly that when the San Francisco Police Department finds themselves short of staff, that we begin to foster the kind of collaboration that allows the deputy sheriffs, beyond the duties that are already required them, to begin to help complement the kind of duties that the San Francisco Police Department may not be able to attend. For example, the larger goal here is public safety and safe neighborhoods. Keep that in mind. When you have thousands of unserved warrants, felony warrants or misdemeanor warrants, I think that that's the job for the Deputy Sheriff's Department, to expand our Central Warrants Bureau and do everything we can to assist the police department in making sure that we are addressing crime at the root cause or potential where it could precipitate again. I believe that such duties of transferring prisoners from district stations should not always be, I think, the duty of the police department, but the deputy sheriffs can do so as well. I also believe, quite frankly, and I'm open for this discussion, that if you want to see somebody patrolling in a community or riding Unibus, well, I know some motivated deputy sheriffs who may want to do that as well. And I think it's important that we begin, important to advance the collaborative spirit that while we recognize that for every 4 people that the San Francisco Police Department's arrests and the DA prosecutes, 3 out of 4 are repeat offenders within a 3-year period. We must look to the fact that it had been not just the innovation of Mike Hennessey's administration, but the very fact that they've had to hunt for grants where general fund dollars were not available, to install programs where others said it could not be possible, to do everything we can to reduce and mitigate recidivism. That has been extremely successful, but I don't want our fight against recidivism to be an afterthought or something that simply relies on grant funding year to year. It is time we institutionalize our commitment in making sure that if we want safe cities and what safe neighborhoods, what this is also about is making sure we empower the lives of people who are less likely to repeat their offense. And not to forget, and as we're reminded in this milestone of a census year, populations like the African American population, the Latino population, Black and brown population, which is comprised most of the inmate population itself, is also the population that struggles most economically in the city and county of San Francisco. It's a cost-prohibitive city we live in, but as we know, it's probably one of the finest on this planet and one of the majestic in this country. It is important to realize that when you parse out women and youngsters who are in the African American population, literally 1 out of every 15 African American males in San Francisco are in jail at any given time, compared to 1 out of 300 people who are not either black or brown. That says that we must step up our game in dealing with the kind of the kind of strategies that empowers and that nurtures communities, that deals with poverty and deals with the impoverishment of one's own economic integrity. That's why I will not retreat from what I've done as a member of the Board of Supervisors, and I'll continue to build on the very work that we push for in a progressive way in making sure that people have access to job training and access to good jobs. And that we rely and work heavily, like my friend Tim Paulson here of the Labor Council, and Vince Courtney of Labor's 261, and so many other labor leaders that are here in making sure that we expand our program, doing so it doesn't become a seasonal hope, but it becomes a permanent hope that people who want a job with a job training will get them in San Francisco. And that the people who are looking to make sure that they don't repeat the kind of harm that they had done in the past to themselves, to the family, or to community, get the kind of services that are specialized in the kind of services that make sure they do everything they possibly can to achieve that particular goal. It's about housing, it's about child care, it's about making sure that we have also good schools in the most disadvantaged communities or communities where those children go to. It is about making sure that we keep this city class diverse, and it's about making sure that we address everything we possibly can in empowering those so that they are not able to repeat their crimes, but at the same time keeping San Francisco safe. What has made Mike Hennessey just a gem among sheriffs in this country is the fact that he has walked that fine pirouette of somebody who's been a civilian leader of a law enforcement branch, who's been able to demonstrate of what it means to uphold the principles of public safety in law enforcement, but who understands the power of redemption at the same time, so that people can know that they can be safe and do good at the exact same time. And that is something that you not always find in a criminal justice system. By God, in San Francisco, we will change that, and we will change that by making sure we try to upgrade the power and I think the reach of our reentry council that Mike referenced, and I look forward to working with the citizenry and all the criminal justice partners in San Francisco, and I absolutely, proudly, humbly accept the endorsement of Mike Hennessey for sheriff, the next sheriff of San Francisco. I also want to recognize a dear friend of mine, like Mike, who's been a significant counsel to me over the years since I've been elected in talking about public safety issues. But before I was elected, somebody who I always have reached out to, and that is our former mayor, Art Agnos, who is here as well. Supervisor Eric Marr is here as well, my colleague. I want to thank Supervisor Campos. There are a number of other electeds, but this is my day with Mike, and I want to just make it about that. Our website will be coming up. There's a number of others from our elected family who have endorsed. We'll certainly disclose that in very quick time, but I am thankful to everybody. I know all of you. Really, it makes me just so delighted and proud that you could be here in such quick fashion. And I know the work everybody here does in their own community, neighborhood, district, and on behalf of the city to try to make this a better city. And we're off to a great start in forging the kind of collaboration one should have with law enforcement. Thank you, everyone.